Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. Big Ten football, Ohio State, Michigan State. I am Ralph Michaels. Follow me on Twitter at CalSportsLV. Tony at WagerTalk. Finn at WagerTalk. Excuse me. Let's try that again. Your Twitter handle, Finn at WagerTalk. Tony Finn, he loves Mike Leach. He's got the one eye. Looks like he's got an eye patch with a little eye issue. Brian Leonard, B. Leonard Sports. This Ohio State team talked about having a chip on their shoulder at Nebraska. They felt they got disrespected with Urban Meyer sitting down. They feel they keep getting disrespected in the polls. They showed how good they can play at Nebraska, but now they're home in a big favorites role against a coach who's done excellent as a defensive underdog coach with the Spartans. Brian, take us off on Ohio State, Michigan State.
Yeah, D'Antonio, 15-9 as a road dog in his tenure there. Doesn't happen very often, but he's very good in that role. Just think of what this line would have been before the season. I don't know if anybody used this for a game of the year, but it surely couldn't be anything where it is now. From a stock market standpoint, you've got Ohio State as high as they could possibly be. I think they're right now one of the top two teams in college football. And you have a Michigan State team who struggled to beat an Indiana team that Ohio State crushed just a couple of weeks ago. So your first thought is they're going to kill them. This Michigan State offense isn't very good. Ohio State's just going to continue to dominate. I don't see it that way. This is one of the games I've actually played. I got 20, a little bit less right now. But you got a Michigan State team. Last 5 times they played Ohio State, they were an underdog in 3 of those games. Or excuse me, last 6 times they played them, they were an underdog 5 of those games. 2 of those times they won straight up, and 1 time as a 21.5-point underdog, they only lose by a point. This is a Michigan State team who is allowing less than 2 yards per carry on the season. Ohio State's averaging about 6. So it all comes down to, can Michigan State stop the Ohio State running game and make them one-dimensional? The Spartans, when you're looking at a game like this and you got an underdog in this price range, you don't want to turn the ball over. That's how it gets crazy. Well, so far this year, Michigan State's only turned the ball over 4 times, and the quarterback's got a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I trust this offense not to screw it up too bad and give Ohio State cheap field position. I think from a value standpoint, Michigan State's the way to go. I bet Michigan State at plus 20.
You know, Lewerke at quarterback, even against Arizona State, they had over 400 yards, but they only scored 7 points. They struggled putting the ball into the end zone. So he's certainly going to have to do that a few times. You know, we saw a better performance moving the ball against Indiana. Tony, your take, are you going to lay 3 touchdowns, or do you think it would behoove you to grab the points?
The most attractive variable about D'Antoni for me is he's always been predictable. You knew what D'Antoni was going to do, what his teams were going to do. His players are always the same. They were going to be physical, defensive, and this team is so far from what I expect D'Antoni's teams. He's done a poor job of keeping up with the times. He's still old school. He's still line up in front of the guy and beat him. That's how we're going to play football. I can't figure this team out. Really, I can't. I mean, they couldn't score against Arizona. They couldn't stop Indiana from falling 10 yards forward and gain every other play and gaining yards. And there's something about this Ohio State team that I can't put my arms around. But and I've watched a lot of Big Ten football. I watched a lot of Ohio State. This team, there's something special about Fields. There's something special about this team. Everything they're doing is right. They walk, they talk football. Their posture. It's again, it's a small sample size. We're not even midway through the season, but I will step out and say this is the best Ohio State team I've seen in a decade. And I agree with Mr. Bryan here, and I think they are one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country right now. And you either lay these points on Ohio State or you just enjoy the game.
You know, I have them up. I put my power ratings up at WagerTalk every Sunday morning, and I had Ohio State up 10 points from my opening number. Them and SMU. I have SMU up 10 points as well. So I completely agree. And to me, I think the way the Ohio State's playing, I might look at betting Ohio State the first half. I really think they jump out early at home. And, you know, we've seen them start the right way and they're doing all the right things. I agree with you. They're saying the right things, they're doing the right things. But if they could do it for a whole game against the best defense they're going to see all year is an entire different story. Because if Fields throws an interception once and all of a sudden the thought process starts changing, then they have some adversity and that may change the way the entire structure of the game goes. Great analysis, guys. You know what? Marco, VR, and Kelly do an absolutely amazing job on it. The Bet on It NFL show is incredible. And now the new show, Bet on It, the college edition, exclusively at WagerTalk. Make sure you check it out. Oh, yeah, and I'll mention, there's this guy who does a great segment, the T&A segment on both shows. Don't miss it. We'll be back with more videos. WagerTalk TV.